Welcome to another Cardano update. Before I start with this, make sure to check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon if you want access to our Discord server and if you want access to all of the charts and also if you want to support the channel. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this update. So as you can see, Cardano is currently going up, which is not to be surprising considering the fact that we did have an ABC structure here in the fourth wave move. And I think you could say that the fourth wave move is already in, but we don't have 5 waves up, so theoretically you could say that this is some kind of ABC structure, but it's very unlikely that it is an ABC structure. I think we are already starting to go in a 5th wave right here, and of that 5th wave we only have the 1-2 setup, and right now we are trying to get to the 200% extension of that 1-2 setup to complete the 3rd wave. And keep in mind, this 3rd wave could overextend like crazy. It could go way above the 70.2 cents level. It could even go above the 2.618, which is at 75 cents. Also, keep in mind, there is a chance that we are still in the 3rd wave right here, and that this has never actually finished, and maybe this is actually some kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 setup of that 3rd wave, and if it is, then this should continue to overextend. Now, as you can see, the price did have a reaction to the 200% extension right there. It did not quite get to it, but it got very close to getting to it. Now, what happens if we start going down right now? Well, it would not be the end of the world. I mean, you could still theoretically call this a 3rd wave. We did not quite get to the 200% extension, but we got very close to that, so you could theoretically call that a complete wave. But in my opinion, it will continue to go higher. I think it's only a matter of time. And by the time you see this video, I mean, maybe it will already be at 70 cents or so. And just to remind you where we are at right now, we are still trying to form a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 setup to the upside. And once we form these 5 waves, I will be able to confirm that the main 2nd wave right here is in, and that we are actually heading in a main 3rd wave. So yeah, right now that cannot really be confirmed. And also, the 5th wave right here should get to at least somewhere between the 3.618 extension, which is at 72.9 cents, and the 400% extension, which is at 77.7 cents. But this could obviously go way higher than that. It could go to like 85 cents or so, maybe even higher. And also, if the 3rd wave right here is not in, there is a chance that we go above $1 in the 5th wave right here, before we get some kind of ABC structure later. So yeah, I mean, if you check out what happened in the previous cycle, after we had this 1-2 setup, and after Cardano went up about 100% in November, which by the way, I pretty much predicted that it will happen, and it happened. After we did this, we had some kind of correction here where the RSI cooled off, just like we did right now. And that was not the end of the 1st wave after the 2nd wave moved down right here. As you can see, that wave actually overextended like crazy, and it got to the 2.272 extension of this very large 1-2 setup, which was very surprising at that time. And this shows that Cardano and many other altcoins do not really care about these extensions, and yes, they do react to them from time to time, but as you can see, they always get above them. I mean, the 1st wave right here, if we were to judge it based on the wave count right here, it should have ended at about 20 cents, but it ended at about 38 cents, which is almost double that. And if we were to do the exact same thing in this cycle, in only that 1st wave, which by the way is this right here, and this consists of these 5 waves, the yellow waves, if we do that again, and if we go to the 2.272 extension of this huge 1-2 setup right here, I mean, that would put us at about $1.56, which sounds insane, I know, but you never know what happens. I mean, it's crypto after all, so anything could happen. And keep in mind, yes, cryptos do react to the support regions and the resistance regions, but they don't always react to them, especially not in a bull market. So it's really hard to say what the top will be in the 1st wave. All you need to know is that at some point we will need a 2nd wave move down, and as you can see here, in this 2nd wave move down, I mean, we went down from about 39 cents to about 22 cents, and this was a 40% correction, 41% correction, which happened in 4 days. So if we start a second wave move down after we get to these levels, let's say between 80 cents and maybe even $1 or $1.40, once we get to these levels and once we get these 5 waves, then we will meet a second wave move down, and this wave does not have to take long. I mean, this could take a few days like it did in the previous cycle. But if it does take a few days, let's say we top at about, I don't know, 88 cents in this first wave right here. If we go down like 40%, that would put us at 51 cents. So obviously this would be a scary drop. Well, not for me and for the people who invested down here, but it would still be scary. And then after that, if we get that, then we should get a third wave of that one to set up. And if you look at what happened in the third wave of the main third wave in the previous cycle, as you can see here, we went from about 27 cents to about $1.40 in a matter of just a few weeks. Well, actually 1 month, I would say. So yeah, a third wave is very impulsive, and this was very impulsive. And as you can see, the fourth wave move down also did not really take that long. Yes, it did take a month and a half, but as you can see, during that time, the price was mostly going sideways. So you cannot expect to get these types of correction, well actually not this. You cannot expect to get these types of corrections right here like we got a few months ago during the bull market. So whatever happened down here will not happen again during the bull market, at least. Now, it's probably going to happen again during the bear market, but, you know, I'm not here to talk about that right now. So what I'm saying with this is that these waves could top at any moment, and we could always get 40% corrections. And don't forget, I mean, if you look at the corrections that we had in the previous cycle, I mean, here we went down about 56% in 2 months. Here, like I said, we went down about 40% in just a few days. Here we went down another 40% in just 2 weeks. And I know this does not really look like much, but trust me, a 40% drop is still scary. And look at this. Here we dropped from $2.50 to about 92 cents in a matter of a few days, 4 days to be exact. And we dropped about 63% during that time. So if we get these types of drops during the bull market, then do not be surprised. This is what happens during a bull market. Now, I also want to talk about Bitcoin dominance because I think it's very important to know that Bitcoin dominance is continuing to go up and Cardano is still going up, which is weird because usually when Bitcoin dominance goes up, Cardano goes sideways or it goes down. But right here, as you can see, I mean, Bitcoin dominance keeps putting in new cycle highs and Cardano does not really seem to care about it anymore. It just continues to go up. So this is definitely very interesting and we'll see what happens once Bitcoin dominance actually starts dropping again. And like I said, it should start dropping very soon because at the end of the day, Bitcoin dominance always goes down in November and it always closes a red wick in November. So if you look at the monthly chart right now, the wick that we have is still green. So at some point we will have to go down if we want to follow what we did in the previous 2 cycles and if we want to close a red wick. And if we do that, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with the Cardano chart. Now, I also want to talk about Bitcoin for a second. Bitcoin is currently at $90,000. It's still going to the moon and this third wave does not seem to be complete, so it will most likely overextend to like the 3.272 extension, which is exactly at $100,000. And what happens after that, it's still unclear, but I think it's very safe to assume that after we get to 100K, we will get some kind of correction just because 100K is one of these psychological resistance levels. So yeah, but if we actually break above that, then we should finally start the pump to about $255,000 by the end of next year. And of course, if that happens, then of course Cardano will also be able to go up and continue to go up. Speaking of Cardano, let's actually look at the daily RSI. As you can see, we are still overbought on the daily RSI, so yes, we could continue to go up right now, and it would actually be good if we did. But you have to keep in mind that at some point we will need some kind of correction to cool off on the RSI. Now, of course, the RSI can theoretically cool off without getting a correction. For example, if you look at what happened in the previous cycle, here the price just went sideways for a couple of days, well actually a month, and the RSI cooled off during that time, but the price stayed the exact same, and here as well. So Even if we don't get a correction, we should at least go sideways for some time if we want to cool off on the RSI. And I'm not gonna repeat myself, but I know many people want to hear my prediction every video, so I believe Cardano will top somewhere between $5.30 and let's say $7 to touch the trend line right here that I have on the chart. And yeah, it's looking very good, but you have to look at the weekly RSI. As you can see, we are almost overbought, which is a bit concerning, but keep in mind we were also overbought up here in the previous cycle when the price was at about 17 cents. So this should not really be anything too scary in my opinion. This is pretty much normal, and as you can see here, after we cooled off, we continued to go to the upside and we went to an RSI level of about 93 on the weekly, so I think this is fine. And if you look at the monthly, we are nowhere near close to being overbought, so this is still looking good in my opinion. And I think we will only get to these RSI levels again if we get to like $5, so we should be fine. Anyways, that's all I have for this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon if you want access to our Discord server and if you want access to all of our charts. Like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.